It appears that Israeli ministers are voting right now on whether to accept the terms of the hostage deal with Hamas. A moment ago, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu told them that voting yes is the, quote, right decision, and that all security forces within Israel fully support it. The Israeli government says Hamas would free 50 women and children over 4 days. Officials also say there is an option to extend the ceasefire for extra days in return for 10 hostages per day. Joining us once again from Tel Aviv is NBC News foreign correspondent Raf Sanchez. So, Raf, am I right to say that the vote is happening right now?
The vote may be happening right now. The cabinet is meeting. We don't know exactly what stage of this marathon meeting they're in. But, Katie, the Israeli government just released remarks that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu made to his cabinet at the start of that meeting. So those are remarks that happened at about 1 p.m. Eastern. They have just been released now. And what you heard basically was Netanyahu making the case to his ministers to vote in favor of this deal. He told them this is a difficult decision, but it is the right decision. He reassured them, as you said, that the Israeli security forces, the military, the Mossad intelligence agency, the Shin Bet domestic security agency, that they support this deal. They believe it won't threaten the security of either Israel or of Israeli troops operating inside of Gaza right now. Katie, the Prime Minister is saying something very interesting we did not know previously. He says that he asked President Biden to intervene in these negotiations and that the president improved the terms of the deal in Israel's favor. We don't know exactly what he means by that, but he seems to be implying that President Biden changed the terms here so that Israel is getting more hostages out in return for paying less. We have not yet heard from the White House about any intervention by the president, but we do know that President Biden has been speaking to the Emir of Qatar as well as to the Israeli government in recent days. The other point he stressed to his ministers, Katie, is that as far as Israel is concerned, this is a temporary ceasefire to get these hostages out and that the war continues on the other side. He is stressing to this right-wing, in some cases far right-wing cabinet, that Israel is committed to its overall goal of defeating Hamas in Gaza, making sure that they no longer control that territory. It is a goal that they have not described in any detail how they plan to achieve. A lot of people in the U.S. government around the world very skeptical about how Israel is going to defeat not just Hamas as a military organization, but also Hamas as an idea, and how they are going to secure the peace given the absolute devastation in Gaza and the massive loss of civilian life. But Prime Minister Netanyahu telling his cabinet that as far as he is concerned, the war continues.
Israel's biggest ally, the United States, says that it has to include a two-state solution and that it can't be Israel going into Gaza and occupying it once again. It can't be Israel retaking territory within Gaza, but that it has to be a two-state solution on the other side of this. One other question for you, Raf. In terms of the cabinet voting on this, do they need to vote affirmatively? Does there need to be a majority in order for Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to accept these terms?
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu needs a majority vote of the Israeli cabinet for this deal to go ahead. Every indication is that he has the votes. This is a coalition government, as you know, Katie. It is parties from the political right and a number of parties from the far right. And we have heard from these two small far-right parties that they plan to oppose this agreement. Now, that may not matter. There are some 30-something ministers in this overall government. They include a lot of ministers from Benjamin Netanyahu's own Likud party who are going to vote with him. They include some ministers from the center-right National Unity Party who joins this government during the war. They were in the opposition. They joined this National Unity government. So it seems pretty clear Benjamin Netanyahu has the votes in the cabinet, but we will see exactly what the tallies are when they come through.